my mom, which you've seen her on the news or you've seen her here at school. So my mom's a clinical nurse educator. She sits on the board of Cradle Cincinnati. She's also opening up a birthing center, and she also takes care of babies all day. She wants to be known as a mom and a baby nurse, and she does much more than that. So she deals with lots of babies all day, and one of the babies that she deals with are drug babies. So I'm going to talk about a baby named Lance that she took care of. And I've changed his name to Lance to be HIPAA compliant. So Lance was born with NAS, which is neonatal abstinence syndrome. So he had tremors and constant crying and seizures and had to detox because he was never given the chance to say no to drugs because his mom took them anyway. So my mom would do a lot of stuff. She would hold him when she had conference calls or bounce him on her lap while she did paperwork. She constantly had this kid as soon as she stepped into the hospital every day. So as a healthcare provider, her heart goes out to them, and I'm sure a lot of healthcare providers feel the same way, as well as their families. So I think we should help these babies before they're even born so they don't have to be born addicted to drugs, or they could at least not get all the damage that they are receiving now. So we could help future generations by the creation of a law that makes it mandatory for all pregnant women to be drug tested for the sake of not only themselves but also their babies. So by doing this, we could effectively treat matters with the mothers, the unborn infants, and also we could help our country financially. So first, I'm going to focus on the moms. So the moms, when they're pregnant, they obviously don't want to get in trouble for drugs. So we can make a safe habit for them of going there and hopefully detoxing them and getting them into rehab while they are pregnant. So not only they are not addicted to drugs anymore, but also their infant. And when my mom says, like, when they go into rehab when they're pregnant, they're more likely to stay sober because they have a newness to live for, which is their baby. So this is very important to me because they're also getting a rush of hormones, which also might steer them away from the drugs that they are doing. So next on the babies, which is our future generations of the U.S. So babies can't speak yet, so we really have to speak for them. We need to potentially save their lives because infant mortality happens with drugs, and also we need to save them from the disabilities they may receive from drugs. So she says in weeks 8 to 12, they are so early in this stage that the drugs don't affect them very much. So if we start drug testing then, we might save their neurofunction and other disabilities that might happen to them and potentially death. So treating them early, and if they are born still detoxing from the drugs, we could make their treatment of getting unaddicted to the drugs faster and quicker, so they're home with their moms and their moms can take care of them, which could help them from being into foster care as well. So I hate to bring up the cost when we're talking about babies and moms, but we have to put in a factor what it's doing to you and me who are not doing drugs. So in the U.S., we spend $1.5 billion a year on these babies who are detoxing. And that's not just their care after the first year. That's their care in the first year of receiving their detox treatment from NAS, which is neonatal abstinence syndrome. So we're hurting our nation and putting us more into debt. We also could spend even more on the NAS kids in the future because they might have physical therapies that they need, emotional therapies that they need, and if the drugs hurt them that badly, they could spend their time in a foster care system, and they could also go into disability homes because they can't take care of themselves anymore. So what can we do about this? Like, what could we potentially do? So in order for this to work, we need to get funding. So if the government's not spending $1.5 billion a year on this we could also get money from them, and also organizations like the Women's Health Organization, so we could save lives. We could either get them drug tested at delivery, or during routine checkups, or at their very first moment that they know they're pregnant. So I think that would be most effective by drug testing them mid-pregnancy. And I think this because moms are more willing to see that they won't get into trouble and that their baby could potentially be saved and not as debilitated as they could be born to drugs. So please remember that we can help babies like Lance and the healthcare professionals and their families from heartbreak. So I'm leaving it with the statistics from Born into Suffering, which is an article I read. Every 25 minutes, a baby is born addicted to drugs in our world and in our nation as well. So during our class period, 2 babies were born addicted to drugs. What could we have done to help them? Thank you.
pregnancy, do you think that the withdrawals of the drug is going to affect the baby as well?
We definitely have that chance, but they're not going to be as worse as they are if they go through drugs the whole entire pregnancy. If we stop it at some point, it's definitely going to help than never stopping it at all. So that's why I think we should do something. Yes, Ellie.
Do you think that, is it like, were you saying we should test every mom to make their pregnancy, or just certain moms that might, like, if they have a feeling that they're on drugs?
I think we should drug test every mom because you don't know what people are hiding, and we need to definitely protect our future generations. Yes.
Why is the number like so high on fire?
It just keeps getting higher. I'm afraid, like, Tony's speech about our heroin addiction, like, in Cincinnati, they're not worried about marijuana anymore. We don't even drug test for marijuana. Our main concerns are, like, cocaine, methadone, and then heroin. So the numbers just keep climbing, and I don't know if it's because of stress, I don't know if it's just because of the way they're acting out, that kind of thing. So it's unfortunate, but it's happening.
These mothers do they cause birth effects as well, or birth defects, I guess, and on top of being addicted to the drugs, these babies are born with defects as well as addictions?
Yeah, in some cases, parts of their brain are missing, and they have heart defects a lot, and it's unfortunate, but a lot of their major organs aren't working correctly because they've been addicted to drugs and their bodies can't function correctly because they're wanting the drugs so bad.
You might have said this, but how much does it cost to test every mom who goes in pregnant?
I don't know that, but with the climbing number and it already being 1.5 billion, I think that we could definitely save not only the kid's life from being addicted to drugs and their potential costs of therapies and if they're in a disability home, but I don't know what exactly it would cost to drug test every month, but I'm sure it would save a lot of money.
What happens if a mother is pregnant, test positive for any of the illegal drugs you just mentioned? What happens then?
Like as in today?
Today, or your proposed solution of what would happen?
So in today's world, actually, a lot of times they're wanted for child endangerment, which is a big thing. Which I think if we give them the rehab and say, hey, you won't get in trouble if you do get clean, and we do follow-up appointments with it, then they'll be more likely to stay clean and not endanger their child otherwise. And so if we keep them from getting in trouble, they'll be more likely to stick with the program.
And if a mother refuses that rehab, or does she have a choice, or?
I don't think they should have a choice, but right now they do, and a lot of times they get their kids taken away because they can't get away from the drugs.
All right, thank you.